Hi everyone, welcome once again. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can create AWS secret key and access key using Terraform. Okay, so let's quickly go to my Visual Studio Code and then we can leverage on the Terraform documentation to do this. Okay, so here I am with my Terraform code. Okay, let me actually clear the screen. This is from the previous video I did. Okay, so we kind of have our Terraform provider already, in our Terraform main.tf file. Okay, so if you haven't watched my previous video, we created IAM user, okay, with this username, okay, and then we tag the user. Okay, we also have our provider block, okay, and then we have our Terraform block. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create access key and secret key for this user called simple user. Okay, so how do we do this? So first of all, let's go to the manual. Okay, Terraform manual to do this. So let's go to the registry. Okay, um, Terraform, you can Google that. Yeah, registry.terraform.io. Okay, so under user, you can come to under user, which the one we have created already, so no problem with that. But what we are kind of interested in, so if you look at this code, you can still create access key for it, okay? Or there is a separate what is it called, resource block for that. So I am, let's do here again, whichever way you go. Okay, I will give you a decent example. Okay, so here again, you are creating access key, okay, and then attaching it to this user. Okay, so what we are interested in is to copy just that, okay, the resource block for access key. When we copy that, whatever goes inside of this curly bracket are the argument, okay, the reference argument. What can we add and what can we remove? What is required, what is optional? Okay, they are all down to the argument reference. So here, so pgp keys, okay, this is optional. This will be 64 encode your secret. Okay, again, you can have the status added, you can add the user. So the user, you need to provide the user, okay, as part of the argument. But you don't need to create the secret because it will automatically be created for you, and you can, base 64 encode it using PGP keys. Yeah. So we've copied that. We go to our console, not the console, I mean the Visual Studio Code here. Let me drop this down a bit. Okay. And all I need to do is to add this here. Okay. What you can do, you can even add a comment if you want. So just to add a comment, so and then you put a bit of what you're actually doing for that. Okay, so create. Why is that doing that? Let me just drop that one down. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so this is a comment. This is hash, and then this will not be read by Terraform. Okay, that's it. It will not be read by. It will ignore it. So Terraform will start reading the code line by line. It will get to this point. It will just skip this line. It's just a note. Yeah. Okay. So that's what we got. What we are interested in. Oh, what's that one? Where is the user? Okay, that's the user. Okay, so keys, that's the resource that we are creating, and then this can be any name. So dev user, let's add something else and say keys. Okay, access key. Right. So here, the user who is going to have the access key, okay, we are going to reference this from the user. So this user, we're going to call this user in this resource. We are going to reference that. So what we will say is the user is AWS IAM user. So can you see here? Dot. So instead of the space, we put dot here, and then we say dev user. Okay, that's dev user. Another thing you need to pay attention to is what follows afterwards. We say dot again. Where is the name? Why did we put name here? Okay, the name is the what we call the attribute reference. Okay, so you pick the attribute reference. Where do we get this from? If you go back to the code here, sorry, the document. So I talked about the argument reference, okay, that goes in the resource, okay, and then the attribute reference, the stuff that you can output, okay, basically the information about the resource, okay, that you are creating. Here we have the create date, we have the encrypted secret, we have the encrypted SES SMTP password version 4. Okay, we have the ID. So if I say ID, is just going to, where is it? Where is it gone? Yeah, here you go. ID is just going to give me the ID of the access key. Okay, let's go to secret. If I say secret, just going to literally give me the secret. So you got secret key and access key. Yeah, and then if I come to this bit, this is what it's going to give me. Okay, so that is the attribute reference. But what we wanted is the attribute reference of the user. Okay, so if I go back here, the one I show you is this, is the access keys. So if I go to the user, where are you? Okay, user. I am user. Where is it? I am, no, that one. Okay, and I scroll all the way down to the attribute reference. Okay, so this stuff you can output is the information about the user. So we can get the user ARN, we can get the user ID is the same as the username. So technically where it says user ID, sorry, username, I can put user ID there. That's why we have the dot. Okay. So if I go back here, I want to mention the name of the user who needs access to the secret key. Therefore, I say I am user dot the resource name dot the username. Like I said here, I can even put ID here. ID. Okay. Just going to refer to the same user or the name. Okay. Again, this is not magic. I only got it from here. So ID and the name are basically the username. Okay. That's it. Right. So we've done that. If you want to base 66 encode this, okay, you need to put what we call PGP key. I've got one, so I've got mine. If you don't have one, you can create one for yourself. So here, okay, so you're going to encrypt it, and when you're done, you can decrypt it. So basically, I'm going to use my username, okay, this username as the base 64 encoding. So when I come here, I can literally remove this and put my key name here. Okay, and that is it for this bit. So when I run this, I will be able to create this access key, and then to get the secret key, I can just output the value and then get the secret key. Okay, so a quick one, let's do an output block. What does the output block gives you? So it's just going to print out the item or the attribute that you want on your screen. But remember, this is secret, but I have encoded, okay, using base 64. So whatever you see is just gibberish, basically, unless you decode it. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to introduce what we call an output block. Okay, so I'll say output is a block, and I'm going to give it a name, what name I'm gonna give it. So I can say user underscore, let's say secret, yeah, secret. Okay, but what goes in here, I will say the value. I need the value. What value do I need? Okay, so we will need the value for. Anyway, if you don't want to crack your brain doing this, you can go back to the uh, documentation. Where is it? Show you here, and go back to the access key. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Here, and you could see it's going to output. Yeah, it's going to output. So this is what you need. So I can copy that, or we've already got it. You can get the value. So you're gonna call the IAM access key, okay, and then what you need to output is the secret. So here you see the output reference. You can output here, you can output that, you can output it using that one, okay, you can output using secret, okay, you can output using that. But because you know we made it as what is that, what is that, as a secret, okay, using the PGP, we are going to output it using that one, okay. So encrypted secret. So what I will do is I can copy this line, okay. Should I copy this line? Actually, let's ignore that line, that one. You can copy that one, okay. Here, let me just copy that for now. Control C. And then what I will do is, so we are looking for the value for this one, yeah, the IAM access key secret. So we will say AWS. So can you see IAM keys dot dev user underscore keys, that one, okay. And straight away it's just giving me, I'll put it here, okay. And what I'll do is dot, and then the one we want. If you put a dot here, can you see basically all the attributes, okay, that you have on the on the documentation? You could see them here, okay. So this is the one I told you I want. So encrypted secret, I can put it here, okay. So if you put a dot, you get this, all this output, okay, or this one, attribute reference, okay. And then I pick that one. So if you run Terraform plan and then apply, let's see what is going to happen. So Terraform plan, plan this, okay. And can you see once you run the apply, we will see the output here, okay. Do Control L on this. So let's do Terraform, okay. And then what we are doing is we are applying at this time, okay. And then we go enter, okay. And then I'll say yes to this, okay. Right. So what you see here is just encoded, yeah. So it's not the actual secret. You need to decode this to get the value. And how to decode it is what I show you. You need that PGP. If you don't have one, you can use yeah, what is that one, yeah, you can install keybase and using it, okay. So decrypt, I can put it here, and then I can decrypt that, okay. So that is not what we're doing. Just want to show you how you can do, you can create I am secret and access key using that. Okay, so we have applied it. If you go to the console, let's go back to the console quickly. Go back to the console, and then let's refresh this. Okay, you got the user here, and then let's see if the credentials has been created. Okay, and then we have the, so that has been created on here, and we have output that. Yeah, we have output the secret on the console, so we can grab it and decode it. Okay, so this is what it is. So I hope this help you, going forward. Let's say if you want to put a comment or share this with whoever you think might need it, leveraging on what we call infrastructure as a code. I will see you in the next video. Okay, see you. Happy learning.